Welcome to part 2 of Can I Beat Fire Emblem 3 Houses in the Wrong Way, where I have decided to give characters the worst classes in order to see if the game is beatable when you fight against how it wants you to play. One quick thing I would like to mention is the wonderful news of new patrons to the channel. My thanks to Naughty Dog is King and Rhonda, Aaron's mom, Proctor, as they have been added to the ranks of the Pesukaru family. If you would like to help me out, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Also, please consider heading over to my Patreon where you can get access to my official Discord server where we talk about whatever and vote on upcoming challenges. Thank you for any support, and without any further ado, let's get back into the Fire Emblem madness. We start off the Harpstring Moon by getting the assignment to take out the bandits later on in the month. But first, it's time to grind away with exploring the monastery and getting through more tutorials. One quick note about running around the monastery is that, unfortunately, because you move so fast, you can have the game become super delayed when opening a door for you, which is a bit obnoxious when you just want to get through with everything. I'll spend the first weekend of every month just getting everything done with one session of exploring, so that way I can spend the rest of the weekends grinding away with anything else that's more important for my characters. I feel like once I can get the characters to the advanced classes, they'll be able to hold their own, but until then, they're just asking to be defeated in battle. Finally, we arrive at our first session for teaching the students. This is one of the biggest deviations from other Fire Emblem games that will allow us to quickly redirect our units to their intended target. For those who haven't played a different Fire Emblem game, you were usually just forced into classes, or you would suffer through lots of grinding where you just equipped the weapon you needed and hoped you didn't fall too far behind in the leveling department. Luckily for us, we get to automatically increase each student's skill every week in up to 2 categories. I'm going to do a quick rundown for each character so that you know how I intend on playing with the characters in the future. I've already stated before that Byleth is on the path to Grimory, Edelgard is headed to Bishop, and Ferdinand is headed to be an assassin. I plan on having 2 flyers, with Hubert being my Wyvern Knight, and Dorothea being my Pegasus Knight. Another side note, Hubert looks like the ultimate creep, and not to spoil the future gameplay, but his look after this time skip is the ultimate milady look. Going back to the roster, my 2 frontliners will consist of Bernadetta as a Fortress Knight and Linhardt as a Grappler. With my remaining 2 characters, I will have Caspar become a Sniper, and Petra will take on the task of becoming a Dark Bishop. I then choose an auxiliary battle so that I can gain more experience for the entire crew and hopefully get everyone as close to level 5 as possible so they can start finally branching out into their own classes. I start off the battle by completely forgetting to give people the right equipment, truly the sign that all is going to go well in this playthrough. The battle goes smoother than I had expected, as I was able to use the tree lines as a defense so I would lower the hit percent of the enemy. Byleth won the MVP award thanks to the AI thinking that attacking someone who could one-shot them was a smart idea. With that, the students are rewarded with more school. Hooray! We are now officially ready for our monthly mission, and by we are ready, I mean I'm hoping for the best. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The early game can actually be more difficult than you may expect just because your characters lack certain skills and abilities. To sidestep this, I took on the shameful turtle strategy, which means I spent literally 40 minutes on this battle just to ensure I didn't lose anyone. After some slow trudging, I eventually got down to just me and the boss, and I'm not gonna lie, I exploited the fact that he won't leave his perch, and the fact that he heals every turn, in order to increase Caspar's bow skill, while Dorothea kept his health low so that we can finish him off when we have farmed up enough weapon skill. Bosses give a lot of experience, so I chose to give that to Petra as Caspar claims the MVP award. The battle took 30 turns, so we basically just killed the final bandit through the Metal Gear technique of letting him die of old age.
Drop your weapon!
Now we move on to the Garland Moon, where we learn that our task will be to accompany the Knights of Seiros in order to put down a rebellion led by a known man named Lonato, who is also the adoptive father of the Blue Lions member, Ash. Finally reaching level 5 with a few characters allows us to start putting each character into their respective class trees, and we also unlock the ability to build bonds with our team. Bonds are formed in battle and through activities like pairing students for projects, eating, singing, and having tea. The bonds help to give bonuses in combat scenarios, but also give some enlightenment as to who the characters are through cutscenes. This can range from Ferdinand touting his royal superiority.
That is, I suppose there is only one thing to do. I must demonstrate my excellence.
To Dorothea, who, how should I say, spends a lot of her nights with a lot of the knights.
I'd love to, Dorothea.
Well, until we meet again.
Skipping through a lot of cutscenes, we get to our next auxiliary battle. This one is a bit more difficult to control, as this map forces me to split my forces in half. I make both forces lure the enemy in before attacking so that I can have the advantage. The AI for Fire Emblem generally targets the closest and weakest units, but for whatever reason on this map, they just do whatever the heck they want, and they decide all of a sudden that they want to go the long way around and change course. This is the biggest frustration for this map. Not the fact that I have to split up my forces, but because I always know that these battles are going to be the longest. For reference, I chose to be slow in the last battle, and it took me 40 minutes. While I was cautious in this battle, I wasn't nearly as passive, and it still took me 35 minutes, 10 minutes of which was me just trying to chase the enemy down when they couldn't decide which way they wanted to go. We eventually complete the battle with Linhardt winning the MVP award. We are now ready to take on the monthly mission, joined by Catherine, wielder of one of the coveted Heroes relics named Thunderbrand. We learned that Heroes relics were divine weapons bestowed upon 10 heroes, and they were passed down through their bloodlines. These weapons are stupid strong, especially Thunderbrand, as in, whenever Catherine attacks during this mission, she does a minimum of 25 damage and always hits 4 times per attack. So basically anyone near her is going to die. Lucky for us, she's on our side, as the battle begins with a dense fog that allows the enemy to slip past the Knights of Seiros that we were supposed to aid. This fog severely reduces our vision, but luckily I have a vague idea where the enemies are and how to lure them out. However, if we want to have good stat boosters, we're going to have to try to keep these soldiers accompanying Catherine alive. This part is more difficult than the whole battle, as the soldiers are just morons who will charge into any engagement. Because they're our allies, we can't block them from getting anywhere, they just walk right through our units, and let's just say they have the Frank Reynolds approach to how to end it.
Suicide is badass!
One of these idiots dies on turn 3, and I spend the rest of the match just trying to heal the other soldier, who eventually decides he wants to go take on Lord Lonato when he's available. To no one's surprise, the lowly soldier ends up getting trampled by Lord Lonato's gambit, and I lose any rewards that I would have gotten. We give Caspar the final blow on Lonato to level him up to 8, while Hubert gets the MVP award. The following cutscene shows everyone questioning why Lord Lonato would rebel against the church, and Edelgard shows us a bit of a darker side to her personality.
Still, we have no choice but to eliminate those who cling to unreasonable ideas of justice. Even if our enemies are the gods themselves, we must never lose sight of our goal. I'm surprised to hear you say that. Really, I'm just like Lonato. I, too, will be the sort of ruler who's willing to risk the lives of my citizens in service of a higher cause. It's not possible to change the world without sacrifice. Dying for the greater good is not a death in vain.
Catherine then tells us about a note she found on the body of Lord Lonato.
Professor, I'm afraid this incident is far more serious than anticipated. I found this on Lord Lonato. It's a note that mentions a plan to assassinate Lady Rhea. We can't tell who sent it, so the source is suspect, but the content is too disturbing to ignore. We must report this to Lady Rhea right away. I hope that it's nothing.
And with that, 2 more months are in the books for the House of the Black Eagles. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to be notified when the next part comes out. If you want to watch the video 48 hours before it's uploaded to YouTube, please consider going over to my Patreon and checking out all the other benefits you can get for helping me out. Once again, I'd like to thank my Raccoon Legends, Relativity, Naughty Dog is King, and Rhonda, Aaron's mom, Proctor. Thank you all for your support, and as always, remember to be kind to one another.